My name is Jenna Wolfsgruber, and I am the program manager for growth enablement at Amwell. I have been at Amwell for just over 5 years, and I've been in enablement for about 2 of those 5 years. My role is specific to kind of enablement operations, and I manage the rep-facing tech stack. So that includes Highspot, obviously, also includes Gong and LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Amwell is a hybrid healthcare company, and we build the software that powers our clients' backend for their healthcare purposes. We inherited Highspot as an enablement team from our product marketing team, which did the implementation back in, I think it was January of 2020, which seems like forever ago. It was before the world changed. But they were basically using it more as a content management system and not a true enablement platform. And then we also had to implement some more of those rigorous enablement features and functionalities that makes the tool so powerful. So we did struggle a little bit at the front end with, making Highspot what it truly can be. But, we have not looked back ever since. So Highspot helps us pretty tremendously on the enablement side, but also across the organization as a whole. We, just like any other enablement team in any other company, work very cross-functionally with other teams across the org. So we kind of utilize it as, the source of truth is what we call it. So we actually have a name for Highspot at Amwell, and it's called Hub. And it's just the hub of everything that is customer facing. We want it to be seen as that source of truth. So, using that to drive the organizational goals, like obviously our bookings targets, but also, that cross-functional alignment, as well as some of our, learning and development initiatives on the corporate HR side. We utilize Highspot for all of our communications and all of our training assets. So everything comes from and lives within Highspot. So it's pretty much like the nucleus of everything that we're doing. So our scope has actually increased quite a bit with this Summer of Learning program, which is what we're calling this training for, the new Converge pricing and packaging, positioning, messaging, all of that fun stuff. So we have been offering access to Highspot to not just our customer-facing teams, but our customer-facing adjacent teams. So those who might not, have a day-to-day interaction with the customer, but those that, work in marketing or growth ops or, some finance folks, some product folks. So not your typical, I would say, Highspot user, but we have definitely expanded that business case to hopefully, potentially, increase our footprint within Highspot. So we're really excited. We use our TNC licenses to kind of power our onboarding program. So our onboarding specialist, Tess Dutton, is a rock star, and she has created this really robust role-based onboarding program. She started at Amwell as an SDR, and we were lucky enough to have her join the team. And she started building the onboarding program from an SDR perspective. And then, that was obviously a smash hit. The SDR role, as you know, is pretty much always rolling in terms of, turnover and internal promotions and things like that. So that was kind of a big gap that we had. And TNC, especially the ability to kind of put all of this curriculum into learning paths and do the bulk enroll and all of that, it really helped us scale. And we also, utilize TNC obviously to, maintain just that benchmark, that baseline knowledge and education across our user set. Another great example that I will relate back to our Summer of Learning, because we're so in it right now. We are pretty much using sales plays to guide our reps. And Highspot did all of the hard work for us with the know, say, show, do framework. So our reps are pretty much in that mindset all the time as soon as they go to the play. So they know what types of content to expect in each of those sections. They know what to do with it. So we're really strong with that framework. And the scorecards, the play scorecards, really help us to get a real-time view of rep engagement, rep activity, and it gives us the ability to be really nimble if we need to make a change, or if something isn't working, if people aren't looking at stuff that we want them to look at, if they're not doing well in the training. It's usually pretty easy to kind of identify the problem with the looking at the scorecards. So that's super helpful. The biggest ones are scalability and consistency. So when we first rolled out kind of our enablement team, I think it was back in, 2021. And Kelly Lewis actually created the enablement team at Amwell before she went to Highspot. And that was our biggest challenge, I think, was making these programs scalable. And Highspot has helped us tremendously to scale. The consistency factor is a big thing as well. We want to make sure that what we're giving to Rep A is the same thing that Rep B is also seeing. And that doesn't just stay within our commercial organization, but as we have expanded our scope, that it kind of filters outwards too. So yeah, I would say scalability and consistency are two huge components of a successful enablement strategy, as well as leadership buy-in and support. That's a big one too, as we all know. The analytics that Highspot is able to provide, both from the rep perspective and the external customer engagement, I think finally being able to show our leaders and our executive leadership, like, hey, this is how we are impacting the organization. This is what our programs are doing, and this is how Highspot is helping us do that. So you kind of have to see it to believe it, I feel like. And I do think that we're kind of ticking upwards on our maturity model. That's always the goal. We always have that at the back of our minds. But yeah, leadership buy-in and support is absolutely critical. And I think that, we have a great core team that understands what we do and believes in our programs and our initiatives. The data and the measurement piece of enablement is really interesting. It's a lot of lag measures and lag indicators and not lead. So it's really hard to kind of see what that immediate impact is. So we're trying really hard to focus on the lead measures, and that is how are the reps doing in their knowledge checks? Are they getting most of the questions right? Is there a question that we have to look at because a lot of people are getting it wrong? And then how is that impacting, deal velocity and things like that, and how long it takes them to get from one point in the sales cycle to the other? Are they having more conversations about this particular thing? So we also utilize Gong to help us with that, just like a lot of Highspot customers are also a Gong house. So yeah, we're focusing a lot on the lead measures. We did do a kind of a refresh on our pitch and remix strategy. So we wanted to obviously train all of the reps who had already been trained, do a little refresh training, and then the kind of new cohort of reps that we've recently had join Amwell, we again wanted to baseline everybody and have the same learning experience, expectations, things like that. So we did that, I think, in April, and I believe, it was 200% increase in customer engagement. So customer views, opens, downloads, things like that. We were also able to look at, the customer activity after they looked at it. So who they sent it to, what that person was looking at, and how, those people were kind of looped into the conversation. So It's a really powerful thing to be able to, again, take that data, show it to leadership and be like, here's why we need this tool, here's why we need to train on it, here's why we need to prioritize it.